Alrighty, it is time for Chapter 5 in The Power of a Teacher by Adam Saenz. We'll be doing Chapter 5, Financial Well-Being. Today is definitely one of those days I'm pretty sure I don't get paid enough to put up with this. Even if I didn't have to put up with this, I'm pretty sure I don't get paid enough. My credit cards are all almost maxed out, and for the past 3 months, I've only made the minimum payments. We've talked about making a road trip back home for Christmas, but I don't see how we're going to be able to afford it. The teacher who is not experiencing financial well-being is subject to a particular stress that has been closely linked with physical illness and marital discord. If I am that teacher, I am vulnerable to stressors that likely will damage my health and quality of life and ultimately undermine my ability to earn an income and sustain a stable home life. Are you that teacher? If so, your hope lies in the reality that you have power to create a personal financial structure that keeps you from wondering whether you'll be able to pay the light bill. You also have the power to understand both the role money plays in your day-to-day life and the psychological factors that drive your thoughts about money and your spending habits. What is financial well-being? When we think of financial well-being, we may be prone to think of the Donald Trumps and Bill Gateses of the world. We assume the financially well individuals is the one who can spend as much money as he or she wants, never worrying about whether the next debit card purchase will be declined or if their quality of life is at risk. If that is, in fact, the definition of financial well-being, more than 99% of us are in trouble. The great news, though, is that we can enjoy financial well-being without being a millionaire. To understand financial well-being, let me give you a preview to the definition of physical well-being. It is not the absence of illness, but it's the body's capacity to fight illness. Similarly, the definition of financial well-being can be thought of not so much as the absence of financial stressors, such as I can spend all my money on anything I want because I have no debt and exceptional surplus, but as the individual's ability to absorb financial stressors. That means that when unexpected expenses arise, such as vehicle and home repairs, medical bills, etc., I have a financial reserve to address those needs without incurring debt. Just as nurturing physical wellness requires proactive discipline over the course of time, more on that in Chapter 7, nurturing financial well-being requires proactive money management and disciplined attention to detail over the course of time. Financial well-being, the keys. Key number 1. Identify external factors that impact your finances. External factors in financial well-being refer to the nuts and bolts tangible aspects of money management. In my review of personal finance resources, I've found most experts agree on the importance of the following factors. Live beneath your means. This starts with a monthly budget that outlines all of your sources of income and all of your monthly expenses. It's pretty easy for most of us to summarize the sources of our monthly income, our paycheck. For some, though, this might also include income from rental property, dividends, royalties, and other sources of passive income. Summarizing our monthly expenses isn't usually quite as easy. If we're going to be effective, including a detailed list of expenses is critical. Common categories include retirement, savings, rent or mortgage, food, clothing, entertainment, giving, medical and dental, and home vehicle maintenance. Living beneath your means simply means that having created a comprehensive list of your income and your expenses, your income totals more than your expenses. Many experts advocate for an envelope method in which you have an envelope for each expense category, allocate the cash at the beginning of the month, and when the cash in a given envelope is gone, the spending in that category stops. Pay off your credit cards. There are several strategies to reduce credit card debt. Transfer multiple card balances onto a single low-interest card. Pay off the balance with the highest annual percentage rate first. Pay off the card with the lowest balance first while making minimal payments on the other cards, then move on to the next card, making bigger payments. And stop using that credit card. Build an emergency fund. Experts vary in their recommendations of how big the emergency fund should be. Some recommend a fund big enough to cover a full 6 months of living expenses. Others recommend only several $1,000s to cover emergency medical expenses or house car maintenance. Regardless of the size of the emergency fund, the point is to have a cash reserve that will free you from having to turn to credit cards in emergency situations. Seek wise counsel. Counsel can come in a variety of forms, including face-to-face consultation with a financial planner, online resources, or books. If your budget permits, you are wise to invest in hiring a certified financial planner to help you establish and maintain short and long-term goals for financial wellness. If your current budget does not permit that expense, though, many resources are available for free online or at the public library. You also probably know someone with experience and skills in managing money. Don't be too proud to ask for help. Review progress. For most of us, our income is consistent and our expenses vary. Since we are faced with this level of unpredictability, once we've established a monthly budget, it's important for us to come back and review on a quarterly basis. Have we left any category out of our budget? Have we under or over allocated in any category? Coming to grips with the external factors that impact your finances is mostly a matter of putting pencil to paper and crunching numbers. The problem most individuals have in the process is failing to take into account obscure or hidden expenses, so it's wise to find a preset budget guide with an extensive line items for each category. Use Google. You'll find dozens of websites with free Excel spreadsheet downloads. Key number 2. Identify internal factors that impact your finances. Reviewing the external factors that impact finances is a fairly straightforward process of looking at numbers and doing math. Investigating the internal factors that impact finances, however, can be a more ambiguous task. Many money management experts agree that the state of our financial well-being can simply be a symptom of our psychological and emotional well-being. The following factors are critical in shaping our relationship with money: family of origin and standard of living. If my salary as an adult does not happen to fall in the same range as my parents, for example, my dad was an investment banker and I am a teacher, I may need to rethink the standard of living that makes sense on my income. Young professionals who are quick to recreate the material feel of life, housing, transportation, clothing, entertainment, that they enjoyed as children may be setting themselves up for significant financial stress if their current income cannot support these expenses. Family of origin attitudes. What instruction did I receive, if any, from my parents about money? Did my parents teach me to delay my sense of gratification by saving money to purchase, or did they buy me what I wanted when I wanted it using their credit card? Did my parents convey beliefs, accurate or inaccurate, about money? Money is the root of all evil, so if you have money, you must be evil. Don't trust banks or anyone else to tell you what to do with your money. Money is just a tool. Treat it as such. How is either the lack of instruction or the presence of poor instruction currently impacting how I relate with money? What deep-seated beliefs do I have about money now that I know are inaccurate and need to be replaced? Personal history with money. Apart from what was modeled for us, our own early behavior with money can shape our current financial behavior. How did we feel when we had our own money? Guilty? Powerful? Afraid? If our early experiences managing money independently were tainted with difficult feelings, and we have never talked through or processed these experiences, we may be demonstrating financial irresponsibility as adults that are rooted in those early financial experiences. Money as medication. When we use money to change how we feel, the money becomes like medication. Of course, there is a time and a place for medication, but any doctor will tell you that 2 critical issues to consider in pharmacologic treatment are tolerance and dependence. Tolerance refers to our body's propensity over time to need more of the same medication to experience the same result. Dependence refers to our body's eventual inability to function properly without medication. When we use money like medication, not only will we need bigger purchases to make us feel better, tolerance, but we will also come to a point in which we can't feel good unless we are spending money, dependence. Assessing an outside objective perspective is both essential and potentially difficult, as it requires us to have the humility to be transparent with someone else about what we're doing with our money. In my practice, I've worked with many couples and individuals who were experiencing significant financial stress but were at a standstill because fear and pride kept them from surrendering enough to ask for financial support and accountability. Conclusion: Jennifer's financial well-being is limited. Credit card debt and emotional spending have created a financial hole that is making any hope of relief seem like a distant fantasy. Truthfully, even if she were offered a considerable raise, her spending habits would most likely place her back in a position of debt in a matter of time. Like many of our other categories of well-being, financial challenges often make us feel trapped. However, unlike other categories, this one often feels completely out of our control. No matter how much we want to be financially healthy, we can't plant a money tree and make everything well. Teachers often feel especially handcuffed by modest salaries and long hours that prevent them from pursuing other sources of income. The truth is that financial well-being takes time, but once again, the point is to focus on what you can control. Organizing your external factors and bringing awareness and discipline to your internal factors will allow you to take positive steps towards a healthier financial lifestyle. Even if you only tackle one piece of the process at a time, keep moving forward. Remember, the goal is to order your life in healthier ways so you are able to better cope with the inevitable financial stresses all teachers will face. As that happens, you will discover a new freedom to teach without excessive anxiety about whether teaching will be the source of your financial ruin. You already know you aren't teaching to get rich. Now you'll know you aren't teaching to go bankrupt. Summary: financial well-being isn't directly about how much money we have. Some millionaires are financially unhealthy, and any teacher can be financially healthy with planning and discipline. External factors that impact our financial well-being include living beneath our means, seeking counsel, and continually reviewing our progress. Internal factors that impact our financial well-being include what was modeled and taught in our family of origin, our personal history, and relationship with money and using money as medication. Financial well-being, recommendations for action. Do establish accountability and reward yourself for self-discipline. Do educate yourself about money management basics, either through books, video, or other media. Number 3, do consult with a financial planner to assess your income and expenses and to create a monthly budget. Ooh, dinner's done. Sorry for the noise. Number 4, reflect on your family of origin experiences with money and discuss those experiences with someone who you trust to determine how your beliefs about money might be distorted or inaccurate. Number 5, do have 2 conversations about finances. One with someone who makes substantially more money than you, and one with someone who makes substantially less money than you. Allow those conversations to shape how you define and categorize your current wants and your current needs. 6, do think back to your spending habits and lifestyle when you made less money than you do now, maybe as far back as college. Allow the contrast to shape how you define and categorize your current wants and your current needs. 7, do practice regularly giving away some percentage of your income to a nonprofit agency of your choice or to someone in need. Number 8, watch an episode of Hoarders on Netflix. This series will give you a deeper look into the psychology of our attachment to material possessions. Don't. Number 1, don't equate material wealth with personal worth. One is a function of how much stuff you can accumulate. The other is about determining your real values and investing your money and life accordingly. Number 2, don't believe that your financial situation is hopeless. You may have your work cut out for you as you shore up your financial well-being, but all things are possible. Number 3, don't let your pride prevent you from getting you the help you need. Money is one of the final frontiers of vulnerability and community, and most of us keep this part of our lives as private as possible. Sadly, we often cut ourselves off from freedom that's within reach because we simply will not let go of the need to maintain appearances. All right, Mr. Wilson's power to change Dennis Welch's life. When I was in high school, I knew everything. I grew up in the Deep South, and I was raised by people who were going through the growing pains of learning about equality, fairness, and prejudice. My education about prejudice and fairness began abruptly in the fall of 1973 when my civics teacher suddenly stopped showing up for class. We had substitutes of all shapes and sizes for a week or two, and then one day, Miss Wilson, our new full-time teacher, walked into our class and literally changed my life in just 24 short hours. She said hello and introduced herself, and then she said, "Boys and girls, this is Black History Month, so we're going to study Black history. Is everybody okay with that?" Because I knew everything, I felt obligated to comment. I raised my hand and blurted out, "Well, if this is Black History Month, when are we gonna have White History Month?" What happened next is a bit of a blur, but I have a general idea, and it goes something like this. Miss Wilson walked me outside the class into the hallway, and this very articulate, brilliant, proud Black woman proceeded to dress me down verbally until I felt about a foot tall. It turned out that along with being all of the above, she was also a trained lawyer, and her training worked very well. She methodically laid out her case for why I was a bigot and then she did me the biggest favor any teacher has ever done for me. She forbade me from coming back into her classroom. She sent me down to the library to check out a few specific books on racism and prejudice, and she told me that the only way I could come back into her class was if I would deliver an oral report on why Black History Month mattered and why we were celebrating it. The next day, I stood up in front of a room full of my smart aleck and equally bigoted classmates and told them why we were wrong to think like a bunch of small-town white supremacists. I must have done a really fine job on my presentation because afterward, Miss Wilson sat me down and asked me what I planned to do with my life. I planned to be a machinist like my dad, but she suggested other plans. Over the next year, I met with Miss Wilson often to discuss my future, and she inspired me to earn an undergraduate degree and an MBA from the University of Houston. I lost touch with her after high school, but if I could see her again, I would tell her that whatever else she has accomplished in this life, she made a huge difference in mine, and I am eternally grateful. Thank you, Miss Wilson, for teaching me to live beyond my limitations. Dennis Welch, Media Consultant. Questions for discussion. Number 1, if you could spend a $500 gift card in one store on one person other than yourself, what would you get and for whom? Why? Dr. Saenz says, I had this conversation with my kids once. I told them I would go to Walmart and buy them all a year's supply of underwear. Honestly, I think if I got a gift card to Pottery Barn and give it to my wife. Number 2, if you could spend $500 on yourself in one store, which store would you choose? Dr. Saenz says this is sort of a tough call. It would either be Academy or Guitar Center. At Academy, I could really splurge and buy a high-dollar fishing reel or a nice rifle for hunting and still have enough left over for a good pair of running shoes. At Guitar Center, I wouldn't be able to get anything really trophy. I already have 3 sweet guitars, and I would need a lot more than $500 to get the 4th one I would want. I could, though, use the money to buy new studio recording equipment. At this point, I'm leaning toward Academy. Number 3, what did you learn, for better and worse, about managing money as a child or adolescent? What attitudes and beliefs did your parents convey to you about money? Saenz says, first, I learned that money is scarce. Second, I learned that people who have money must have done something wrong to get it and should not be trusted. Sadly, it's taken much of my adult life to undo that thinking, but I am so grateful to have a more reality-based understanding. I think the most helpful instruction I've ever received about money is that it is a tool, just like a hammer, a saw, or a knife. Just like any other tool, we can use it to help ourselves and others, or to hurt ourselves and others. Increased material wealth means increased power to help or hurt. As our material wealth increases, so does our need for external guidance and accountability. Number 4, what are your earliest experiences handling your own money? He says, I remember getting a job as a bag boy at a grocery store when I was a sophomore in high school. I took money out of my first paycheck and bought an album, as in a vinyl album, by Billy Squier. It felt good. As a child, though, I didn't have any consistent instruction about what to do with money. Number 5, what is one area where you immediately know you can improve in how you manage your money? He says, I need to pay more attention to details. Our family operates on a budget, but I think if we were more attentive to details, we would realize we're doing more impulsive spending than we think. Number 6, how does your current financial status impact your thoughts and feelings when you are on campus? That is the end of chapter 5.